Are you ready to take control of your life and join a community of like-minded women who are on a mission to live their best lives too? Healthier, happier, and wealthier? Then get ready to find the support and motivation you need to pursue your passions and goals. Get ready to develop the courage to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. Join the My Best Life Tribe membership today and unlock a world of opportunities, empowerment, and sisterhood. Our exclusive community offers courses, collaborations, workshops, events, and so much more. Don't wait any longer to start living your best life. Visit our website, www.drstemmy.com, and become a part of something truly special. My Best Life Tribe, where women thrive together. www.drstemmy.com.
Are you ready to bounce back?
Welcome to the Bouncing Back podcast with Dr. Stem, where resilience meets inspiration. Join us as we explore powerful stories of overcoming adversity, share expert insights, and discover the tools you need to bounce back in life. Whether you're facing challenges or seeking motivation, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bouncing Back podcast. You have no idea, and I have told my guest that I have today that I have been waiting for her because she works with couples, and there is nothing, that I get excited for as much as people staying together, marriages staying intact, and people continuing to also celebrate love. Because for some reason, I don't know if it's me, we'll hear from, Coach, that, it's almost like many people are not valuing marriages. It's almost like, oh, everybody's like, well, why get married? Why stay married? So I'm so excited to have you here with us. I forgot to ask how I pronounce this. Monica Tanner is how
You did perfectly.
Okay. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. So happy to be here with you.
Thank you. I know. We had small talk, and then I forgot to say, hey, do I say 10? I said, okay.
You did just right.
Yeah, so Monica Tanner is an RLT trained relationship coach and host of the Secrets of Happily Ever After podcast. Can you imagine? That's what caught me, Happily Ever After. I'm like, I've got to get her on the podcast.
Yeah. We all want our happily ever after, right?
We want that. I want to rekindle that, to bring that back, that glow, that joy of being married. That's why I'm very excited, that you're doing this work, and I'm excited to know more about it. So she transforms marriages.
Yes.
She helps with simple communication, connection, conflict resolution, and commitment strategies. Her mission is to lower the divorce rate and improve marital satisfaction. Through her engaging podcast, new book, Bad Marriage Advice, vibrant social media community. I'm telling you, go see. All the links will be right where this show is. Click on her links because they are vibrant social media community posts that she has as well. And couples coaching practice, Monica's expert guidance has impacted thousands of couples by helping them ditch resentments and roommate syndromes. Oh, that roommate syndrome. Okay. And get back to living their happily ever after. I am so excited. Anything else that I left there, or we're going to dive deep into it?
Let's dive in.
So, can you share a little bit about your journey of how did you start, saying to yourself, you know what? I'm going to take this big role of, rekindling love and making sure that people just don't run for divorce, but they run for repairing these marriages. How did it start?
Yeah. Well, I would say it all started when I was 12 years old. So when I was very young, I was obsessed with Disney movies and romance and all the things that created a happy love story. And I thought that my parents had a really happy love story. And when I was 12, they announced that they were getting a divorce. And I felt like that just pulled the rug out from underneath me. I thought this is not how it's supposed to go, right? And so I started observing all of the couples around me, my friends' parents, different members of my family. And what I realized is that I didn't see a lot of happy marriages. So, like, you've got one thing portrayed in Hollywood and, fairy tales and things like that. And then you had quite another in real life. And I thought, there has to be a way. Like, happy marriage must exist. And if there is a way, I will find it. And so I studied it in college. I met my Prince Charming right quickly after I graduated from college. We got married. We started our own family. And I realized some of the big challenges that come when you try to can have two people from two different backgrounds with two different beliefs and opinions and preferences, and you put them together and you try to do all these really difficult things like buy a home and start a business and raise some children together, right? And so we came into these challenges, and I learned a lot in the lab of my own marriage. I went back to school to become a marriage and family counselor. I decided I wanted to go into coaching instead. And so for the last 7 or 8 years, I've been podcasting. You mentioned my podcast, Secrets of Happily Ever After, and coaching couples. I discovered RLT a couple of years ago. This is how I do all of my coaching now. It's a wonderful coaching modality that it inspires a lot of behavioral change quickly. And it's very, very, very effective. And then recently, in the last few months, my oldest son got married. And so I wrote a book for him and his wife. It's called Bad Marriage Advice: Debunking Myths That Will Make You Miserable and What to Do Instead. So that publishes really, really soon. So, I'm pretty much obsessed with how relationships work and how to make them happy, thriving, viable, intimate, and passionate forever. So that's what I
It
do.
looks like being in a happy marriage or a marriage that is working, because then happy is in a marriage that is working also keeps you young. Because then when you said my son Mary, I'm like, wait a minute, you look young.
Yes. Well, he was young. I was young when I had him. He is young when he got married. So, I am not shy about the fact I'm 46 years old. I have
Oh,
46 years of
wow.
experience behind
Yes,
me. We've
yes.
been married for 23 of those years. And yeah, my son just recently turned 22. So that should give you a little bit of a timeline.
Congratulations. And for the fact that he actually chose to get married instead of just dating or just being there, that really shows also the work that you have done and what he has seen you do.
Yeah.
And we
And I
can,
really do feel like that is one of the biggest motivators is the benefits, the legacy that we leave behind, the story that we tell with our marriage and what our children, grandchildren, and the rest of our posterity remember about, who we were, how we treated each other, how we made them feel. So relationality is so important in your marriage, in your family, in your workplace, in anything that you do.
but then it becomes also a challenge.
Mhm.
Because it's good to leave a legacy. It's also good for the children to see you staying in the marriage and being there. I'm from Zimbabwe, and our parents were that generation that stayed, the mother stayed for the children. And, I'm realizing now, talking to the people that come for counseling, that pastors are staying in for the congregation. So our parents stayed for the children, and there are pastors that are staying for the congregation. So then, how do you maneuver the commitment of wanting your children to see, that you've stayed in the marriage, but then you're not happy in the marriage?
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any reason that you have to be unhappy in the marriage, right? I think that you can have all of it. You just have to learn the skill set. So, the great thing about relationships is it's not something that you're born with or you're not born with. It's not like, athleticism or anything like that. I mean, just like, learning a new sport or an instrument or anything, it's a bunch of skills that if you practice and work on, anyone can learn them, right? So that's the thing about relationality. It's really not taught and not modeled very well in society, especially now. We live in a culture where, if something's broken, we toss it out, or,
Yeah.
we don't really put a lot of sweat equity into things because everything is replaceable. But relationships, those are the things that you will take with you beyond this life, I believe. And so it's worth putting some work and effort, because on your deathbed, in your final days, it's not going to be about what you accumulated. It's not going to be about anything besides who is there with you. Who are you leaving behind, and what are you leaving with them?
Yes. Great answer, because what I'm understanding you to say is, listen, there will be challenges, there will be problems, there will be struggles. And if you just run and leave what is broken, many a time, wherever you're going, there it will be same problems, same struggles, same
Absolutely.
differences that
It
you
will look
still
a little different. It might feel a little different, but it's
but they're
still
still
going to
there.
be there. Yes, it's worth working on. And I believe that we come here for a reason, and it is to grow and to evolve and to become the best versions of ourselves. And so the people that we love the most, our spouse, our partners, those are the people who are going to give us the opportunities to heal those wounded parts of ourselves.
Yes. But then here's the thing too, right? I hear you. Work at it. Don't go with this throwaway thing. It's broken. Let me just throw it away. There's also that version where you can repair it and it becomes just like new, or close to as new as possible, but it will be usable, which means the marriage will be workable, right? But doesn't it take two? Because I might have those values. I might learn that. And my partner might not want to do that. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, that's a great question that a lot of people have. And I do believe that you can do a lot. You can change a lot on your own, but to create sustainable change, you do need both partners. But I work with a lot of individuals who do their own work first, and they learn how to stand up for themselves in the relationship, to ask for the things they want and need in a way that their partner can understand it. So I think what happens a lot of times is people stop standing up for themselves. They stop asking for what they want and need because it typically doesn't go well, because they don't know how to do it skillfully. But once they learn, then their partner respond differently, right? It takes one person to change the dynamic, two people to sustain a new dynamic.
Mm.
So I do think that you can do a lot to uh, to elicit change on your own, and to inspire your partner to want something better on your own.
I love what you just said. It takes one person to change the dynamic, and it takes two people to sustain that dynamic. Hey, we could end the podcast right here. That is good advice, right there. And, I think many people are always hesitant to seek couples therapy. Well, she won't want to, go with me. She doesn't want to even go for counseling or for coaching. And he says the same thing. Well, she doesn't want to go. So why should I work at it? And what we are understanding and learning today is that one person, because it's two to tango. Yes, we understand. But when that one person goes and you have changed the dynamics of how things were. The way that you used to communicate is different. The way that you used to listen is different. How you say the same thing that you've always wanted and need to change is different when you have, sought, a new transformation, coaching or counseling, either one, that you take. And what I like about you, which is, similar to me, is you are a licensed mental health professional and then also a certified coach. So they get two in one anyway. right?
Yes, I am not a licensed mental health professional, not yet. I have
Oh, okay.
thought about going back
You
and
better.
perhaps adding that to my repertoire. However, just to make sure, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I
Okay.
have been trained in some coaching modalities that do
Okay.
require some therapeutic principles. So I am familiar, and I have done a year of my master's, so
Okay. Okay. So just the certificate.
I've
Yeah.
not
Once you,
completed.
yeah, once you mentioned, married and family, so I thought maybe you are an
Yeah.
LMHC, but okay. All right.
Yes.
So with that, you do have the modalities and you do understand the counseling, but the emphasis is on one person taking that initiative. And I've seen many, that after the spouse has gone, they say, they're doing something that's working. There's something has changed.
Yes,
Have you
yes, yes.
noticed that?
Sometimes that is the case. Sometimes the resistant partner will notice that things have changed for the better, and they're like, I want to get in on that. But sometimes it requires that the partner who wants to initiate the change do some things to make the other partner uncomfortable. Because usually the resistant partner, the partner who will not um, join them in therapy,
Mhm,
typically they're not uncomfortable. Typically they're getting what they want and need out of the relationship.
mhm.
And so one partner is frustrated because they want something better for themselves and for their partner, but they don't know how to ask. And so when I work with them, I teach them how to ask, how to insist upon the other partner joining them. And if not, then this is pretty controversial, but we make things uncomfortable for the resistant partner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it becomes whatever works because in the end, what I've noticed is it actually does work for some and might not work for some, which is okay.
Mhm.
Because then at least they have tried. But do you have, that where people have come in and then they end up saying, I've tried everything in the books and now I don't think this is working for me. Has that happened?
Of course, yeah. The one of the most challenging parts of about my job is that I can't be more ambitious than my clients, right? I mean, I can want change for them, I can teach them skills, but I have no control over what they choose to do with their own personal life. So, as much as I love them and, want the best for them, they get to choose what they're comfortable with, what they're uncomfortable with, how hard they want to work at it, what
Yeah.
they're willing to tolerate. So, yeah, I mean, I've seen it go all the ways, but typically, working with me, by the end of our time together, you will know whether this is something you want to work towards or something you want to walk away from.
Yes. Well, we're going to keep the energy of keeping these marriages together. We're going
Yes.
to keep the marriage, the energy of love, rekindling love, and
Mhm.
loving each other again and getting back to the basics. Because,
Yep.
I mean, that's what I want
Yeah,
for
yeah.
them,
Mhm.
for them. But again, they get to choose because then all they can get from us are the tools and also different ways of thinking and, also dealing with the issues of relationships or couples relationships. I want to shift a little bit and go into your podcast.
Mhm.
And I wrote something here that Secrets of Happily Ever After. And when I went through it, it shows that it has helped countless couples. What are some common themes or challenges that you see among the couples that you have worked with?
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I wrote the book, Bad Marriage Advice, is because that is probably 15 themes that I see in among couples is, false beliefs that, span generations of marriage. So they're trite little pieces of advice that people have handed down throughout the generations that may have worked at some point, it
Yeah.
may have been good marriage advice. But modern marriage is very different. We expect a lot from our marriages now. And the advice that, ancient, trite advice isn't always helpful. And so, some of the things that you've probably heard a lot is, find somebody that completes you. The right person won't hurt you. Don't ever go to bed angry. Happy couples don't argue. Um, Happy wife, happy life. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Those types of little advice that people get, on their wedding day or, from older married couples don't always serve these couples. And so I kind of go through 15 pieces of what I have found over the years to be bad marriage advice. And I talk about why it's bad marriage advice and kind of how to do it differently.
So, okay, since we're having this nice open discussion, right? At 60, I'm 60. I just turned 60, this year. At
Wow, you're
60.
gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So at 60, right? And advice like don't go to bed angry. Do you think that was bad advice?
Well, I don't think that it works very well because we have
Okay.
so much research showing
Yeah,
that when we're tired, we don't think very clearly. Without
true.
good rest and appropriate sleep, it's very difficult to come up with long-term solutions that are actually going to serve us. So when we're activated, when it's late at night, and one of us or both of us just needs to get some sleep, it's not a good time to try and make big decisions or work through big challenges or even talk about things because I have this acronym called HALTS, and my husband is always like, "What's that acronym again?" It's if we're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or stressed, typically our prefrontal cortex or the part of our brain that really functions well is offline. And so if you want to work something out with your partner, if you want to work through an issue, we need to either get some food, get some rest, take some deep breaths before we can actually have all of our faculties online. So by going to bed, that now this doesn't mean we sweep it under the rug. This doesn't mean that we don't talk about it later.
Yeah.
But have you ever noticed that something can feel really big and impossible right late at night when you're really tired? And then when you wake up in the morning, you're kind of like, wait, what were we fighting about again? Like, what was that thing that we were so upset about?
Yeah.
Because you've rested, you've got a fresh perspective. So the biblical line is don't let the sun set on your anger.
Yes.
So I understand that if there's something in the marriage between you, don't let it stay between you. But that doesn't mean you can't take a break, get some rest, come back with fresh eyes in the morning and figure it out later.
Great answer.
So just the quick don't go to bed angry, I think is horrible, horrible marriage advice. And for me, I lost a lot of sleep in the first several years of my marriage because I thought, no, we have to work this out into the wee hours of the night. It's 3 in the morning. I can't keep my eyes open, but I want to fix it. And my husband would be like, you're crazy. I'm going to bed.
So, yeah, so I think it's also context, right? Because my understanding of it is when they say don't go to bed angry, there's a difference in energy. If we say, you know what, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I don't even think I'm thinking straight right now. Can we talk about this tomorrow? And a
Mhm.
couple can be in agreement. And
Yes.
when that is said, it doesn't mean which it's so funny because I was writing on my paper right here, sweeping under the rug, and here you go. It's not sweeping under the rug. I'm like, oh. So you're right. It's not sweeping it under the rug. So, I mean, when I say that it made sense to me, it's because it's saying we've got an elephant in the room.
Mhm.
I see it, you see it, but I just don't think that I want to have a bite of this elephant today.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go under it, around it, and your partner says, "But so you can't see." Didn't I just say I see it? But
Yes.
I just choose not to cut a piece right
Yeah.
now.
Yes. So my husband and I, what we say to each other is, I love you. I do want to talk about this, but let's get some sleep and we'll revisit it in the morning. And my husband is so good about, he wakes up before me almost always. and he will roll over, put his arm around me. I'm so sorry I was mean last night, or I'm so sorry I lost my temper last night, or, I didn't have the patience for this last night. Let's talk about it. And then I can flip over and we look at each other and we'll talk about whatever needs to be talked about. And sometimes we're like, I was just exhausted. I was just tired. I wasn't thinking straight. I needed to sleep. Are you still upset? And I'll say, nope, I totally get it. We both just needed some sleep, right? And so sometimes it's so much better to just take a break and get some sleep than to say a whole bunch of things that you don't mean and that you've got to reverse and unwind in the morning.
That's true. That's true. My next question was about the bed marriage advice, and you just addressed it to say, "Ooh, how did you come up with that title for the book?" Yeah. So, what are some simple, we just went through one and well said with that. Don't go to bed angry. And I think what's going to happen is, like we all do, right? To get through those, advices, but to discuss them and, break it down so that what are they understanding about it? What are different or alternative ways of dealing with that same belief? Because it's a belief, but then again, like you said, some of them do not work any longer
Mhm.
even though they're there. So, so that was one advice. But what are some more simple yet powerful, advices that you have, especially through communication? Because communication is tough among.
Yes. And I will tell you the through line of the book
Yeah.
is if it inspires lazy communication is what I call it, then it's bad marriage advice, right? So if it requires you to really dig in and communicate better, then that's the good advice. So like another example is you hear all the time, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff in marriage.
That one,
Once you
that
get
one.
married, just don't sweat the small stuff. You've heard that, right? Where do you think the big stuff comes from?
From the small.
Certainly, it starts small. And you don't sweat it, you don't sweat it, you don't sweat it. And then all of a sudden, all of this resentment and built up anger around it comes out sideways. And then you're yelling at your partner for something super trivial and small. And he's like, or they're like, where did that come from? And you're like, oh, that was a small thing years ago, but now I'm so upset about it, I can't even hold it in any longer.
Yeah.
So I hate it when people say, don't sweat the small stuff. I would rather you deal skillfully
Yeah.
with the small stuff
Sure.
than to have to deal with this massive big thing because you've been not sweating it for years. So I teach people how to skillfully bring up the small stuff. So it bothers you the way your spouse puts the toilet paper on the roll. You should say something, right? Because 10 years later, you're going to be breaking the thing off the bathroom because you're so fed up because you feel like you've like done everything and your partner can't do this little thing, which is the toilet paper roll. But what in reality has been happening is you haven't been sweating it. You haven't been sweating it. But every time you see it, you go, ah, that's so frustrating. And 10 years later, you're like, I hate this dude.
Yeah. That's true.
And
That's
it started with something very,
small.
very small
Yeah.
and very fixable. Have you ever had like a massive weed in your garden and it's choking out the thing that you planted? Like you've got this beautiful flowers and this weed just comes in and chokes it out from the roots
Yeah.
because it's gotten so big and so massive. But if you had just plucked it out when it was small, it would have been such a different experience. So I like to teach couples how to sweat the small stuff. I think you should absolutely sweat the small stuff. Sweat it while it's small so you don't have to tackle it when it's huge.
That's true. That's true. So from that small stuff also comes one of the biggest issues among couples, intimacy.
Mhm.
How do you rebuild? And I know this could be a whole, but real quick, rebuild trust and intimacy, especially after experiencing betrayal.
Ooh, yes, yes. This is a question I get often, and I have seen so many couples rebuild something really exceptional, even after betrayal. And so, if you follow Esther Perel, I like some of her work is
Yeah.
a little questionable, but a lot of it is wonderful, right? And
Yeah.
she talks about how we will experience several marriages throughout our lifetime, some of us to the same person. And so one of the valuable things when a couple has come to me after betrayal is that this is it is the understanding that this is the end of this marriage. Now you can either move on to a different marriage, like with another person, or you can create a new marriage with the same person. And so, working with a couple after betrayal to rebuild intimacy is a pretty intricate process, but you have to really dig down into this isn't going to be the same marriage. We cannot have the same dynamics and interactions that you had before. We have to build something brand new. And so the question is would you like to build something brand new with each other? And if so, let's do it. We've got to learn some new skills. We've got to show up in a different way. And we've got to be very, very, very intentional.
Wow. I've never thought of it in that way where you're rebuilding, one dies, but then now you're at a crossroads where you get to choose,
Mhm.
whether to start over again and date each other and rebuild a whole new way of connecting with each other. That's
Yeah. And a lot of times it does require that. It requires going back
yeah.
to that courtship period where you are building trust with each other. You don't know each other. And a lot of times when there's been a big betrayal, it's because the partners haven't been intentional. They don't know each other well. They haven't focused on each other and their needs and their connection. And so it does require like a whole new like courting, right? You've got to date again. You've got to learn about each other. You've got to really make an effort to learn about each other, and what you care about, who you're becoming, what your goals are, and do you, it's the same as when you're dating somebody. Do you want to spend the rest of your life with this person?
That's true. That's true. My next question, Miss Monica, is really I used to think back in the days that being roommates was for elderly couples.
Right. You've lived together for so long that you just do
Well,
it.
but because here's the thing, right? In my work, I also did home care where I used to go into the
Mm.
nursing homes and do couples counseling in the nursing homes. And
Yeah.
they want to stay married, but they cannot stand each other. They want to stay in different rooms or they want two beds in the same thing. So to me, it was like, oh, you get old and you just don't want to be touched and you don't want to see them,
No, it's
but you
not.
really want to be around the person, right? So that's what I thought. But then now looking through your work and everything, I'm like, hmm. And also having worked with couples, I'm hearing more and more younger couples having this roommate syndrome. So, what are some of the signs of this, and how can couples reignite their romance and emotional connection to be able to stay together?
Yeah. Well, I would say that roommate syndrome, just a kind of a general
Mm.
explanation of what this feels like, is you feel disconnected. You feel like you're doing life around somebody, but
Yeah.
not with them. You're not partners, you're not teammates, you're not going to each other and connecting often. You're just kind of going through the motions. You do your jobs, they do their jobs. You see each other a lot, but you're not seeing each other. You're not
Yeah.
connecting and like, intentionally being with each other. So that's roommate syndrome. It can happen after 5 minutes of marriage. It can happen after 5 years or 5 decades. You can do, most couples will go through cycles of roommate syndrome. Okay. So the way we fix it is, I call this my 3% rule. It's so simple. So here's the thing. I used to talk about this all the time until a friend was like, do you realize you're only asking couples to spend 3% of their time with each other? And we like calculated and did all the math, and we were like 3%. So if you have 100% of your life, spending 3% of it intentionally with your partner will save your marriage and will keep you from getting to the end and just like tolerating each other. So 3%. Now, in everybody's day, here's the thing about time. I love this about time, is it's the great equalizer. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how much you can bench press or how important your friends are. Everybody gets the same amount of time. You can't buy more. You can't barter for more. Nobody gets any more or any less. It's just how we choose to spend it. So every person on the planet gets 1,440 minutes in a day. That's how many minutes are in every single person's day. I'm only asking you to spend 20 minutes intentionally connecting with your spouse. So if you can find 20 minutes out of the 1,440 minutes that are in a day, take a walk, make dinner together, go for a drive, lay in bed together. Like, you're not watching a show, your phones are not in the same room. You are giving each other your undivided attention for 20 minutes. You ask each other questions. So this is a Gottman principle. You're getting to know each other's inner worlds. You want to know, what is exciting to you right now? Who did you talk to today that was really interesting? Did you read something that got you thinking about something? Like, what were your experiences today that were notable? Like, learn about your partner and what they're experiencing during the day, what they think about, what they stress about, what they're excited about. These are the types of things. 20 minutes, 10 minutes for you, 10 minutes for your partner, 20 minutes. That's 3% of 1,440. That leaves you a lot of time for other things, other people, your children, everything. Okay. So 20 minutes a day, add on 3 hours a week. There are 168 hours in everybody's week. Everybody gets the same number of hours. If you will spend 3 of those hours doing something fun with your partner, so I call it date night, but you can do it in the middle of the day. You can have a breakfast together, whatever it is. You do something fun together, something memorable. So I like to think about the old couples that are like swinging on the porch swing, or they're walking together hand in hand, and they're reminiscing about all of the fun things they did together, right? 3 hours of every day. Or every week, I'm sorry. So take turns planning it, make a bucket list. I have what's called my date night journal. So this has got 52 weeks in it. But in the beginning, you sit down, you make a bucket list. Where are places we want to eat together? What are activities we want to try together? What are some things that we really would like to experience, right? You make a bucket list. And then I have a list of 300 different date night ideas for every season and every budget you just go to my website, you can sign up and get them for free. And that's 6 years worth of date nights. Okay. So then you're going to record your date nights. What did you do? What did you learn about each other? What was awesome about that date night? You want to make these things memorable. You want to make them different, like an actual date when you were dating. So if you continue to date each other throughout your life, you'll always have these experiences to draw from. Even if you're really frustrated with your partner in the middle of the week, you can think, oh, I'm so looking forward to kayaking together, or going for a walk, or getting a treat, or whatever it is, right? So date night, really, really important. That's 3 hours out of the week. And then everyone has 52 weeks in the year. If you will take 1 week or even 3 days, do what you can Go on an adventure somewhere together. Rekindle that flame. Don't take your kids. Don't talk about money. Just do something awesome together, right? Be very sexually intimate with each other. Talk about your goals. Talk about the year that passed. Like, what did we do well? What do we want to improve upon? What do we want to do differently in this next year? Do we want to stay together? What do we want to focus our attention on, right? Answer those questions once a year. That's 3% of your time. And I promise that will safeguard you against resentment, roommate syndrome, and all of the other intimacy killers that are out there.
There's no better way to end this podcast. I'm telling you. So I just reminded myself, I'm like, why are you? I always have a notebook and just write out, right? And I'm writing out all of this, 168 hours and just take 3 hours of fun, 1,440 minutes in a day, just 20 minutes, which is nothing compared to 1,440. And then you went into the, 52 weeks, just 1 week or 3 days, just go on a 3-day, cruise, getaway. So I'm writing, I'm like, Stem, you're recording this. You can always listen to it again. But thank you. Thank you.
But I think if couples will actually do this intentionally,
Yes.
it would save a lot of pain in a lot of marriages.
Yes. 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 After this, I am going to blast all the airwaves and everything and saying, hey, listen, there is great advice on how to rekindle, that love that you have. I am so excited that you made, time to come here today. And I mean, thank you. It was priceless. I have waited for it. I was excited when I saw you, in there. I said, I need her on my podcast. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You are so very welcome. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
And that journal, is that yours? Do you sell it on your website?
You can get it on Amazon, and
Oh,
then
it's on
yes,
Amazon.
eventually it'll be on my website. Yes.
Oh, perfect. So I want to encourage people to go on her website and get that free 300 list that she mentioned. And then I think you do need this journal, because then it's important to journal and keep track of what you're doing and excited about what you pick next. Take turns to, pick what you want, pick it together. It doesn't matter, but I think that journal really is a must have as well. Tell us your website again for people to get you.
So my main website to learn all of the free resources and ways to work with me is monicatanner.com, but you can get that resource of 300 date night ideas by going to badmarriageadvice.com. So that's the book website. So Bad Marriage Advice will eventually be available on that website, but while you're waiting, you can enjoy 300 date night ideas with different budgets, different seasons, all the fun things that you can do just to jog your memory of like fun things to do with your partner.
Awesome. So when you publish it, remember Bouncing Back Podcast, email me, let me know that it's ready. Let's talk about the book once it's ready, because I'm excited about it already with two bed ideas that you
Very good. I will.
Yeah, so please come back so we can talk about the bed ideas. Congratulations to your son. And, once again, I don't know if you have any last words that you want to just share with the people before we log off.
I think I would just say, don't beat yourself up. When you know better, you do better. So be intentional, right? Your marriage is the most important thing you'll ever do, right? And so don't be one of those old couples who just barely can tolerate each other. Like, you want to be that old couple walking hand in hand in the street that everybody's like, look how happy they are together.
Yes. Thank you so much, Monica. I will let you know once this is all ready. Again, all of you, thank you for listening to the Bouncing Back podcast. I am so excited to continue to bring you guests that will enhance your life, enhance your bounce back. Because as you know, no matter what happens to you in life, it's up to you to bounce back. Until next time, this is Dr. Stem. Be encouraged.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Bouncing Back podcast with Dr. Stem. We hope you found today's episode inspiring and packed with valuable insights. Remember, no matter the challenges you face, resilience is within your reach. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Join us next time for more stories of strength and perseverance. Until then, keep bouncing back.